We back, baby! Let's go! After a much anticipated wait for my 18 subscribers, the Alcohol Part 2 video is here. What we are discussing today, because there is a discussion, I want some action in the comments, people, is drinking games. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Drinking instruments because tools are what separates us from animals. And lastly, my humble opinion on matching drinks to a vibe or occasion. I'm gonna chuck a few stories in the mix, and hopefully they don't drag this video out too long, because I don't have time to edit a 15-minute video. I have self-set deadlines to meet people. Therefore, if this video is longer than 10 minutes, you can expect a part 3. Sorry, not sorry. Sue me or pay me. The first and most iconic drinking game on the list, drumroll please, is beer pong. Beer pong is a great drinking game, and could almost do with its own video. It can be played with mates, ops, and randoms. Anywhere and anytime. There's never an occasion where a G game isn't suitable, except maybe during Cyclone Alfredo on the rooftop of our apartment. What is bad is all the stupid rules people come up with. So fortunately for everyone, I'm going to explain the rules. These are AS/NZS accredited, but can be used worldwide. Trust me, I'm a fully playing alcoholic mechanical engineer. I got this shit down to a science. I will be explaining the standard 2v2 10 cup beer pong and delve into the different variations from there. Before you start, you'll need 20 party cups and 2 ping pong balls, ideally with a few spare, and a table/playing surface. The cups are set up with 10 on either side of the table with a pyramid arrangement like so. Cups should be a finger length from the edge. I'll explain why later. Once the cups are set up, fill them with your beverage of choice. And before you pansies jump up and down talking about water, simmer down. Water cups is a variation to the standard game, which will be discussed later. Refer to the diagram for fill levels. When playing doubles, unless you're drinking the same drinks as your partner, you pick 5 cups which are yours, and they have their 5. I usually do this arrangement. Now for the fun part, playing. There are many ways to start a beer pong game. The two I'm most familiar with are Snake Eyes and Challenger Starts. Snake Eyes involves a member of each team standing behind their cups and staring into the eyes of the opposition player while shooting the ball at the cups. The team who gets the ball in the opponent's cup starts. If both teams get it in, or miss, then the other teammates shoot. This is repeated until someone gets it in. As the name suggests, the Challenger Starts method means the team who is challenging the current kings, queens, or other of the table start. The game works by standing behind your end of the table and taking turns shooting the balls into the opponent's cups until there are none left. When a ball lands in a cup, the person whose cup it is must down the drink at the end of the opponent's turn and put the cup to the side before having their turn. The shooter's elbow is not to cross the edge of the playing surface. If it does, the other team is allowed to call elbows and a reshot is to be taken. Turns consist of each player in a team shooting the ball. The turn does not end until both balls are in the other team's hands. Teams are not allowed to shoot if it is not their turn. Any balls thrown outside of the team's turn are not counted and to be given to the other team for a bonus throw. There are different ways to get rid of the other team's cups. The standard way is to throw it and get it in. The cup that the ball is in is out. If a ball bounces off the rim of a cup and lands in another, every cup which rim the ball bounced off and the cup that the ball landed in is out. A player may choose to perform a bounce shot. This involves bouncing the ball off the table and it landing in the opponent's cups. A successful bounce shot claims the cup the ball landed in, every cup whose rim was contacted as mentioned previously, and an additional cup of the defending team's choosing. Note the defending team is allowed to catch a ball after it bounces on the table, so it's a high risk, high reward play. Another rule people play is catches. Don't play catches. Beer pong is about making a splash like Stephen Clay. Catches involves the defending team catching the ball clean one-handed under the table after the ball has bounced off the rim of a cup or completely missed the table. When a successful catch is completed, a cup of the throwing teams chosen by the throwing team is out of the game. I play pure buckets, so don't play this rule. The rule I do play though is Island. Each player gets one Island call during the game. Island is to be called before the player throws and when there is a cup isolated from the other cups.
Island, baby!
The player is to call an island such as Hawaii
Fucking Hawaii.
and throw the ball at the island cup. If it goes in, then another cup of the defending team's choice is to be removed. If the player misses or the ball lands in another cup, it is counted as a missed throw. Balls back is a great rule. This is when both players, during the turn, sink a cup. When this happens, the throwing team gets the balls back for another turn. The step up from this is grenade.
Grenade!
which is where both players sink their balls in one cup. This is not only hype AF, but every cup touching the grenade cup is out,
That's a grenade.
along with the balls back rule applying. Balls back and grenade are why some cups are not to be moved until after the turn is complete. The most satisfying side to a game is winning Snake Eyes, sinking a grenade in the middle cup straight off the rip, crushing your opponent's chances, then hitting Island,
Ça va aí.
destroying their dreams, before obliterating their souls by sinking the last remaining cup, all in one hand. From here, depression has consumed the enemy team, leaving them unable to hit any of the 10 remaining cups on your side of the table for redemption. What is redemption? Redemption is either the best or worst rule depending on the game. It can increase the intensity of a game or drag it out to excruciating lengths. Redemption occurs when the final cup of a team is sunk. The sunk team gets a redemption shot each, where if they sink a cup, then the game continues. I play where if 2 balls are sunk on the last cup, then the other team must sink both redemption shots. I also play unlimited redemption rounds. This gets painful when both teams suck, but keep hitting the redemption shot, or neither team can finish the game. When this happens, the gentleman's agreement should be applied, and both teams concede to a draw. I wish only my worst enemies or greatest friends to be on the receiving end of the start. However, it does come with one downside for the victors. As the first cup the player hits is the middle cup, pitch cup is applied, where the player who hits the middle cup on their first cup must pull their pants down until they sink another cup, which isn't long in the situation, and is also nothing compared to the punishment that the losing team must face from being beaten without sinking a single cup. I've only seen this once in my professional Pong career, but I hope to see it many more times. The punishment entails the losers doing a nudie run around the block, and to be honest, if you lose without hitting a cup, you don't deserve close your dog. Trick shots add a fun dynamic to the game, but often get out of hand. Trick shots are usually initiated by the throwing team getting the ball back during their turn and performing a trick shot, such as a bounce shot, off the wall, no look, behind the back, etc., etc., and act as a second chance shot. Getting the ball back during your turn to perform the trick shot is where it gets out of hand. Some people have a free-for-all and fight for the balls on or off the table after it's been thrown. Me personally, I only go for the ball if I get it from my side of the table. If it touches the ground, I stop to the other team. The reason for this is because I am a 6'1", 105 kg man of pure meat. If I start diving into those loose balls like I'm on the footy field, someone's probably going to get hurt. Also, the game just isn't that deep, bro. You ain't going to see me tweaking or crashing out over a beer pong game. Another rule that also isn't that deep and have never tried to attempt is guys finger, girls blow. This rule can be used when the ball is swirling around the cup. Guys can flick the ball out with their fingers and girls can blow it out. Be warned, it does not go into another cup. I don't try this because it is massive seeds, but more power to you if you can pull it off.
Feel the power.
Oh, I can feel it.
Guys, if you blow, you're gay. Nothing wrong with that, less competition for me, but that's just how it is. You're gay. You're also a bastard if you intentionally try and knock over cups. This is another way to lose cups. If the cup is knocked over or off the table, then it counts as a sunken cup. Yes, the cups should be filled to the correct level so they don't get knocked over, but I digress. The last rule I will mention, which can be vital for the outcome of the match, is the rearrange. Each team gets one rearrange per game, and it must be called at the start of a turn.
Yo, rearrange, bro.
This is where the opponent's remaining cups can be rearranged to a shape of your choice. Common shapes include Special Olympics, sword, house, square, and fat or long diamond. I recommend doing this call with 4 or 5 cups remaining. Now that I have explained the correct way to play 2v2 10 cup beer pong, let's go over some variations, because variety is the spice of life. Water cups is the first variation. It involves putting water in the cups instead of alcohol. This is done for sanitary reasons, i.e. moldy cups, and to avoid sharing cups. Look, I get it. My issue with using water cups is people don't drink while playing, and the whole point of the game is to drink. Like, what are we doing here? I need to be drunk to enjoy your company. It also just ain't as fun. If I'm the host, I clean my cups so they aren't moldy, and I have a splash cup to clean the ball while playing outside. But if I'm at someone else's house, and that's how they play, I will play with water cups. 6 cup Pong is when 6 cups per side are used instead of 10. The same rules as 10 cup Pong apply. The bitch cup for this game is the front cup, but it isn't really played in this version. 6 cup Pong is good if you want a fast game.
I'm fast as fuck, boy!
Or for 1v1s. Preferably, I would play 10 cup Pong even for a 1v1. 1v1s still use 2 balls per turn. 3v3 or 15 cup Pong adds another row to the pyramid. Same rules apply as 10 cup Pong, except there is an extra ball in play. For balls back or grenade, only 2 balls need to go in for it to count, but the third ball only comes back if it is also sunk. A few of the cups, people, and table space for it, running a doubles game of beer pong is fire. To set this up, form two 10-cup pyramids per end. This version is basically running 2 games of beer pong at the same time, with you pairing up with the team on your side of the table. Regular rules apply, but there are now 4 balls in play, and players can go for either pyramid on the other side. Pyramids are treated as separate games, so when the last cup of a pyramid is sunk, the corresponding team is out of the game. Redemption rounds are applied to everyone in the team, so you can save the other pyramid during a redemption round and keep the other team in the game. I like it because the bigger the game, the better it is, and it creates a strategy. Do you focus on one team, or just go for the easier cups? With that, you can ignore everything I've said about beer pong if house rules are called.
Welcome to my house.
Your house, your rules. Halfway there. Rage Cage, or as I call it because it makes more sense, Stack Cup, is a fast-paced drinking game which punishes noobs and bad players. For Stack Cup, you need a bunch of party cups, 2 ping pong balls, and a playing surface that allows you to bounce the ping pong balls, and ideally, more than 3 players. You can play with 3 people, but it is painful, especially if you get caught in the cage. You may die. I will explain the cage later. If you have enough cups for beer pong, you have enough for Stack Cup, but I always prefer more cups. To set up the game, place all but 2 cups in the middle of the table. From here, fill up the cups to about here. The centermost cup is to be filled to the top with a mix of beverages and sometimes a cheeky dash of hard liquor. This is the King's Cup as some call it. If you play with me, there'll probably be multiple King's Cups. Once the game has been set up, players are to spread out and stand around the table. The 2 cups that were not used in the drink circle are to be placed at opposite ends of the table in front of 2 players. Now the way this game works is the players whose turn it is bounce the ping pong ball and try and land it in the cup. Players are allowed to hold the cup they are trying to get the ball in, but cannot move it to catch the ball. When the player gets the ball in the cup, they pass it to the player to their left. This is like a cat and mouse game where you are trying to catch up with the other cup. When a player successfully lands the ball in the cup and the player to their left has the other cup, this player can stack their cup on the other player's cup, hence the name Stack Cup. When this happens, the player who got stacked passes their stacked cup to the left with the ball in it. Note they do not pass the ball they were previously using. The stacked player then grabs a cup from the drink circle and must down it before continuing play, with the finished drink cup becoming the playing cup. The game does not wait for this player. The player who got handed the stacked cup continues to play. This is where the fun begins. If you successfully get the ball in the cup on the first try, you can move the cup anywhere on the table. Note you can only stack a player if they are to your direct left. This is how you can trap players in a cage. This occurs when a player is stacked and the player they handed the stacked cup to gets it in, first go, and then passes the cup to the player to the right of the stacked player. This player then stacks the previously stacked player. This repeats until the player taps out, passes out, or gets out. The cage is fun for the people performing the play, hell for the player in the cage, and boring for all the other players. The only time I don't like Stack Cup is when one player is getting abused in the cage and drinking all the drinks. There's nothing worse than a Stack Cup game where you don't even drink. The perils have been too good, I guess.
I'm here.
Some people play with a mercy rule, where the stacked player is allowed at least one shot before they get stacked again. Depending on who I'm playing with, I usually instill this rule. The only other rule is if you bounce a ball and it lands in one of the drink cups in the middle, you must down it, then stack it on your cup before continuing. Some quick disclaimers.
What's this?
I suggest you find cups that are the same. Stacking mismatched cups creates a retarded stack cup. It is also acceptable to remove some cups if the stack is ridiculously high, aka higher than the ball can bounce. Lastly, as people have different drinking preferences, it is probable that the drinks in the cups are not to your liking. If you cannot deal with this issue, just don't play. People who ruin the game because they don't want to drink what is in the cups are insufferable. Go sit down and think about your actions. When you ask people about drinking games, King's Cup, or otherwise known as Four Kings, would be one of the first 3 answers people would give you. I've only played this game twice, and both of those were within the past year. For this you need an empty vessel, which will be filled with alcohol. This is the King's Cup. The bigger the better. And you also need a deck of cards. Sit in a circle, and then place the cup in the middle. Then you arrange the cards in a circle around the cup, ensuring there are no gaps. Players take turns clockwise around the circle, removing a card from the pile. Try not to break the circle of cards. If the circle is broken, i.e. there is a gap between the cards, then the player who broke the circle must down their drink. The circle is then closed again with the remaining cards. The cards in this game represent an action or a rule. So when a player takes a card from the pile, they have to complete the action or rule. As you can see on the screen, here's an example of card rules I have played. Dutch Pyramid is one of my favourite drinking games, though I'm not sure what it is actually called. Unfortunately, you only get an explanation of 3 good drinking games for free.
This dick ain't free.
So if you want me to explain how to play it, comment either Dutch Pyramid or drop part 2. If I get 3 comments saying Dutch Pyramid, I'll make a separate video for it. Similarly, if I get 5 comments saying drop part 2, I will drop a part 2 of this video with more drinking games, including Dutch Pyramid. This will be named Alcohol Part 2 Part 2. Bad drinking games. There's no such thing as a bad drinking game, because if there was, you just wouldn't play it, and you wouldn't be watching this video to learn how to play it. We've had the good and the bad, now it's time for the ugly. Every drinking game can turn ugly if you lose enough, but the one that has never had a good outcome is shot checkers. I'm not going to explain how to play checkers. I'm not your dad.
What do you mean? I'm not your dad. You were adopted. What?
To play shot checkers, you need a checkers board and 24 shot glasses. I would recommend getting plastic ones, because if you have 24 real shot glasses, I would suggest going to Alcoholics Anonymous. To begin, half fill the shot glasses with your spirit of choice. I would recommend one player using a dark spirit and the other using a light spirit to make it easier to differentiate the different pieces, just like in the real game. Last time I played this, I used gold Bacardi and Chad used white Bacardi. Now the game is set up and each player has the equivalent of 6 shots in front of them. Play like you'd normally play checkers. When your piece gets jumped, you take the shot. When you get a king, fill up the rest of the shot glass. Yes, now you have to drink a full shot's worth if you lose this piece, but the idea is you don't. Play until the game is done. It is up to you how the remaining shots are divvied out. I'm not going to code it. This game hurts. And that's coming from someone who is 1-0.
You know that I'm the cream of the crop.
I never lost, baby. So who's up next for the challenge? As I predicted at the start, this video is over 10 minutes, aka my longest video. So if you have stayed this long, you're a king, and may the bounce of the ball be ever in your favour. A like for every minute in this video in the first day of the upload, and I will drop part 3 in exactly 1 week's time. Cue the outro. It's the outro. Just a regular Joe.